James Earl Carter Jr., known as Jimmy Carter, was born on October 1st, 1924, in Plains, Georgia, a small town that would shape much of his political philosophy and leadership style. He grew up in the rural South during the era of segregation, experiencing firsthand the injustices of racial inequality. Carter's early life, marked by humble beginnings and a strong religious upbringing, deeply influenced his later career as a politician, humanitarian, and advocate for human rights. Jimmy was the son of Earl Carter, a prosperous peanut farmer, and Lillian Carter, a registered nurse. His father's business acumen allowed the family to live comfortably, but Carter was taught to value hard work and humility. As a young man, Carter excelled academically, attending Georgia Southwestern College before transferring to the U.S. Naval Academy at Annapolis in 1943. He graduated in 1946 with a degree in science and a commission in the U.S. Navy. Carter served in the Navy during World War II, eventually rising to the rank of lieutenant. His time in the Navy was pivotal, fostering a sense of discipline and responsibility that he would carry into his public life. He later left the Navy in 1953 to return to Georgia and help manage his family's peanut farm, which had faced financial difficulties after his father's death. Carter's entry into politics began in the late 1960s, spurred by his dissatisfaction with Georgia's political establishment and its racial segregation policies. In 1962, he ran unsuccessfully for the Georgia State Senate, but by 1970 he won the governorship of Georgia. His tenure as governor, 1971 to 1975, was marked by a commitment to racial integration, government efficiency, and public service. He famously took on the entrenched political machine of Georgia, pushing for progressive reforms like educational and healthcare improvements. Carter's focus on moral leadership and his outsider status, rejecting the corruption he saw in state politics, resonated with a national audience, setting the stage for his presidential campaign in 1976. His appeal was especially strong in the wake of the Watergate scandal and President Richard Nixon's resignation, which left many Americans yearning for integrity in government. Jimmy Carter won the 1976 presidential election in a narrow victory over incumbent Gerald Ford, a result in part due to the national disillusionment after Watergate. Carter's presidency began with optimism and a promise of change. He campaigned as a Washington outsider, committed to honesty, transparency, and human rights. Carter's foreign policy achievements are often regarded as one of the strongest aspects of his presidency. His administration was particularly focused on human rights, a central theme that he carried into his international dealings. One of his most significant accomplishments was the Camp David Accords, brokered in 1978 between Egyptian President Anwar Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin. The peace treaty ended 30 years of conflict between the two nations and marked a major step toward peace in the Middle East. Carter's role in facilitating this historic agreement earned him the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002. Another major achievement was the signing of the Panama Canal Treaty in 1977, which agreed to transfer control of the canal from the United States to Panama by the year 2000. The treaty was controversial but ultimately seen as a move toward improving relations with Latin America and honoring commitments to self-determination. However, Carter's foreign policy also faced challenges, most notably the Iranian hostage crisis. In 1979, militants took 52 American diplomats and citizens hostage at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. The crisis, coupled with the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in December 1979, overshadowed much of Carter's second year in office, contributing to a perception of weakness and instability in U.S. leadership. Domestically, Carter faced significant challenges. His presidency coincided with a period of economic turmoil marked by high inflation, rising unemployment, and an energy crisis. Carter's attempts to address these issues, including energy conservation measures, deregulation in some sectors, and tax reforms, were met with limited success. His push for a national energy policy was hindered by political opposition, and his administration struggled to pass major legislative initiatives in a divided Congress. Carter also dealt with the fallout of the 1979 oil embargo, which exacerbated inflation and led to gas shortages. The economic strain, combined with the frustrations over rising energy costs and unemployment, contributed to declining public approval of his leadership. After leaving office in 1981, Carter's post-presidency became as notable as his time in the White House. He dedicated himself to humanitarian work through the Carter Center, an organization he founded in 1982 to advance peace, promote democracy, and improve health worldwide. The Carter Center's initiatives focused on eradicating diseases like guinea worm disease, promoting election monitoring, and fostering peace negotiations. Carter's efforts to combat disease and improve living conditions for the poor earned him global recognition. He received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002 for his decades of work in advancing peace, human rights, and public health. He and his wife, Rosalind, also became active in Habitat for Humanity, a non-profit that builds affordable housing for those in need. Carter's volunteer work for Habitat for Humanity helped to raise awareness and mobilize resources for affordable housing projects. Beyond humanitarian efforts, Carter wrote numerous books, including memoirs, reflections on democracy, and insights into global conflict. His commitment to non-partisan diplomacy, human rights, and peaceful conflict resolution has remained central to his legacy. Notably, Carter's work with the Carter Center has helped mediate and resolve several international disputes, further cementing his reputation as a statesman dedicated to global peace. Jimmy Carter died on December 29, 2024, at the age of 100. Carter's legacy is complex and multifaceted. As president, his time in office was marked by significant achievements in foreign diplomacy, but also by domestic challenges, including economic hardship and political divisiveness. While his presidency was not seen as successful by many contemporaries, his post-presidency work has been widely praised and has reshaped his image over time. He is now considered one of the most successful and respected former presidents in U.S. history. Carter's humility, commitment to service, and dedication to human rights have made him a beloved figure both in the United States and internationally. His life reflects a dedication to moral leadership and the pursuit of peace, even in the face of significant personal and political challenges.